Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Our third guest, Andrew Dosunmu, is a renowned photographer, filmmaker, and a creative director. His latest film, Where Is Kyra, stars Michelle Pfeiffer and Kiefer Sutherland. He has been dubbed by Rolling Stone as inarguably one of the best movies of the year. Andrew Dosunmu, welcome to the morning show.
Thank you.
Hi, Andrew. Thank you for joining us today. Okay, so most of your films have been all about African immigrants. Why did you choose to do a movie like Where Is Kyra, which is about this white woman, or Caucasian woman, I'd say?
I guess for me as a filmmaker, it's really about the subject matter, and I try to do films or subject matters that are universal. This is a story about a woman in our mid-50s, and what it's like for a woman in these times where there's a lot of recession. Statistically, it's been shown that most women over 50 find it very difficult to find a job because people don't want to employ them.
Okay.
So I really wanted to tackle that subject matter, and like my last film as well, I like to sort of talk about the burden that the society has created on women and how we should kind of talk about it and discuss it. So that's what it's about.
Well, what drives you? I mean, you are so multi-talented. Yes. You are a filmmaker, you are a photographer, you are a documentary maker. You work with YSL as a design assistant, and all that. What drives you? Where does the motivation come from? And how do you move from one spectrum of art to the other?
What drives me? I guess it's just, it's something I love. I've always loved it. I guess really growing up in Lagos Island, you're surrounded by so many visual things around you, and my love for, really, actually, I knew I wanted to create something in the arts. I never knew I was wanting to be a filmmaker until I moved to France, because I wanted to go to college in France. And on my first year, I had to learn French. So instead of going to Alliance Française, I started going to movies to watch cinema. And watching these films, I kept seeing foreign films that really celebrated their culture, whether it's Japanese cinema or Indian cinema, and the whole notion of why can't we make our own films? Why can't our films be out there on the big screen? And that's what really inspired me, because I wanted to talk about my people, my culture, and to sort of elegantly present it, because often, unfortunately, cinema has not been fair to us as people of color. It's always been, from the inception of cinema, Birth of a Nation, it's always been about lynching us. It's always been about victimizing the Africans, whether it's anthropological cinema. So for me, I think cinema and visual images is very, very crucial to retelling our stories.
Right, and your movie Mother of George is depicting that clearly. It made the Sundance Film Festival. Tell us your inspiration behind that movie.
I mean, Mother of George is really about, I kind of find it really there's something quite amazing about, you think about a Yoruba wedding.
Yes.
And you think about, this is something that's been going on for the last thousands of years, how the practice itself, the appreciation, the fact that when you marry someone, you marry the whole family, and the notion of extended family, how it works within the African structure, which most Europeans don't tend to understand. So I really wanted to celebrate that, and what is it like when you are kind of or how should I say, the consequences of displacement, when you're not in your society, but you're trying to uphold your culture in a society that doesn't celebrate that.
What's your assessment of films and movies made in Nigeria? I mean, you've had a lot of international exposure, and I'm sure you watch locally made films too. What's your assessment?
I celebrate Nollywood a lot for one reason, or most importantly, I think Nollywood has told the world that black people want to see themselves differently from Hollywood cinema. Again, they've never presented us fairly. So Nollywood is amazing, because I mean, sometimes I travel to like Latin American countries, like I was in Peru and Colombia, and most people of color, most people of African descent watch Nollywood movies. So that's really incredible, and I think that Nollywood is proving that. I think we need to upgrade that. I think technically, I think a lot of Nigerian filmmakers should study cinema. It's not about just study the masters, whether it's Kurosawa or wherever it is, studying the masters. So I think for me, that's what I'll say. It's really about how do we understand the craft, study the art of cinema, and not just having a camera and a microphone and want to make a movie.
Oh, right.
So you are worried about the quality?
Absolutely.
So I believe we have a thought. I think that would be for Mother of George. Let's take a look.
What a day this is. To be blessed like this after so many years. To you, dear Adenike, the woman of my life.
This is to ensure fertility and prosperity. Bear him a son that will be named George.
Many women have babies in their 30s.
But you haven't. My son worked hard, and he will always provide for you.
Why are you letting her ruin our lives?
I'm not letting her do anything. This is our decision.
You will not take another woman?
I don't want another woman.
Are you going to tell your mother that?
What's wrong?
Just tell him, you can't. You can never do that.
Right, I'd like to juxtapose that with your latest film, Where Is Kyra, which features Michelle Pfeiffer. That's huge, Andrew. Let's take a video. Let's see what that looks like.
Hi, I'm Kyra Johnson. I was just wondering if the part-time filing position was still open.
No, it's been filled.
Okay.
Hey, how's your day going?
Oh, pretty good. You okay?
I love you.
I love you, Mommy. Mommy?
It's really good to see you. Your mother. I'm really sorry. You all right?
You notice, like, nothing you worked for is working. Thank God for my mom. She saved my ass. No.
We'll figure this out.
I can't lose this apartment. I'd like to cash this, please.
Who's Ruth?
That's my mother.
Only she can cash her own check.
I saw a woman today looked exactly like your mother. I mean, she even walked like her. She walked right in front of my car. It kind of freaked me out.
Beautiful. And the lead actress there was Denai, correct?
Yeah.
How did you convince her to do a film like that? She's clearly not Nigerian.
Yeah. I mean, like a great actor.
Yes.
She does her research. And
Yes.
I've known Denai from Yale. She was
Yes.
in Yale School of Drama, and
Yes.
I've seen her a few times with Lupita. They've done some plays, so I've kind of seen her in other plays. And I remember I worked with her on my first film, Restless City, and we had a conversation about, what is it like to play Nigerian, and she was really into it. So I started sending her Nigerian films and, all these things, and she was amazing. I mean, and I think that's what happens when you're a great actor. You can embody the characters and do a lot of research and want to be as close to that character as possible.
Great work, Andrew.
Thank you.
Yeah, but you see, many artists have role models. They have people who inspire them. Who are your own role models?
Oh, wow.
Or major influences on your art?
Oh, wow. I mean, when you talk about Nigerian artists, the first person that comes to mind is people like Amos Tutuola, great writer.
Author of The Palm Wine Drinker.
Palm Wine Drinker. Filmmakers like Ola Balogun. And world filmmakers like Akira Kurosawa, Japanese filmmaker, Luciano Visconti, Italian filmmaker. So there's a bunch of different people and a lot of contemporary artists as well. You know, whether it's Chimamanda, I think she's an amazing writer. So I'm really influenced in Nigerian artists like Yinka Shonibare. You know, I really sort of, especially right now, a lot of contemporary African artists are really making an impact on the world stage, and it's quite inspiring.
But the persons you have mentioned are not necessarily filmmakers, nor are they photographers. So what is it particularly that you draw from them?
I think it's emotion, really. You know, when their work captivates you and vibrates an emotion, and there's something about their work that just you connect to, and it tells you things, and you think about it. And I think that's what any great art should be. It's about connecting to somebody and evoking an emotion.
You're also a documentarian as well. You recently did the documentary on the World Cup, This Is Naija. Tell us about that.
Well, This Is Naija, it's a collaboration with Nike.
Yes.
Since Nike, it's the outfitted the Nigerian thing.
Yes.
And they approached me to do a film about soccer, and I told them that I really wanted to do a film, or cultural film about Nigeria. For me, it's something amazing. Like, you know, I really want people to come to Nigeria the way people go to Brazil. You know, you think about Brazil, you think about soccer, you think about the beach, and you think about salsa. So why can't you think about that about Nigeria? I want kids to watch a documentary like that and think, oh my God, you know, my next vacation, I want to backpack and travel to Nigeria. It's so culturally rich. So that's the objective behind This Is Nigeria.
I think one of the strong things I see in your work is your access to an international network.
Yes.
You know, to all these big names, and you have that access. What kind of advice will you give young Nigerians who also want to really go international? How should they go about it?
Honestly, I think it's about the work. And I think people get caught up in the film. I think it's about the work. I believe that once you've done the work and you constantly elevate yourself to be on the world stage, we tend to sort of model ourselves or our, we don't, you know, basically you really want to be on the world stage. And I think, how do you do that? It's try and be the best and try and see what other people do, and try and be in that stage, on that standard, rather than trying to just do things locally and think. You have to think globally. And how do you do that? It's really try to do the best.
Yeah, but the average Nigerian will tell you that there are special constraints here.
Yes.
That if you had stayed back in Lagos, you probably would not have been able to do so much.
Yeah, but I think if I do for example, if I'm a young filmmaker in Nigeria and I did a short film, and that short film got into some festival, if you send it to a festival around the world, if it's good, they're going to take it. They want products.
Yes.
And the minute they send something good and you get invited to a festival and you get audience, people start talking to you. What's your next project? What do you want to do? So it's really about the project. It's really about the product. And especially now, I started when there was no digital film. I learned on cinema. You know, we used to shoot Super 8 and 60mm film. You go to the market, you buy films, you shoot it, and now there's so many access. You've got social media, you got videos, you got 5D. So it's really about the quality, because we've got the access, and any kid in Nigeria can get a hand on a video and you can edit on your computer. So what is that voice? What are you talking about? What is your message? And that is the key. And once you've got something, a good product, it's going to get seen. I really believe that.
What about studying film? Is that part of is that how you actually got to start making film? Because I know a lot of people don't actually study film and it's just a passion. Is that something that you would advise us to do to become successful as you are?
Absolutely. I mean, I think now it's really, what's great about being in film school is that you get to, you get to be exposed to a lot of things.
Right.
I mean, the fact is, let's be honest, a lot of great filmmakers never went to film school.
No.
You know, whether it's the Olabalogun or the Visconti or the Kurosawa, they never went to film school. But the sense of culture, there's a sense of theater. You could come from theater, you come from acting. I think it's really about exposing yourself and trying to learn as much as you can, and not limit yourself. You know, you're not limit yourself to, oh, I'm just going to watch films. And I think as a filmmaker, as an artist, it's about really going to museums, watching arts, reading literature. You get inspired by different things. And I
Yes.
think it's really about being open to where that inspiration comes from.
Yes.
You know?
Andrew, your visual language goes beyond just film. You're a photographer and you've been on magazines, Vogue, ID. It's really huge and I must commend you. I hope we can have you come back here and talk more about how you became this successful.
Thank you very much.
Andrew.
Nice meeting you.
Okay.
Thank you for
That's
coming.
all from Andrew Dosunmu. Up next, we'll have media entrepreneur and educationist Isabella Akinsheye here to discuss the reading culture in Nigeria. But before then, we'll take a short break on The Morning Show. Don't go away.